Well said.
How are you?
How are you? Good, good. Where is it? Okay, we're live. We should be live. Welcome to Morning Minutes. Michael Burgio, Mark Novak. Episode 231. Are you spending too much or spending too little? Property renovations, what we see clients do well and what we see clients do not so well, and what do agents mean, or what does it mean when you overcapitalize on your house? Mark, where do you want to start?
Big question. Look, the risk of spending too much, guys, on your, and happy to, if anyone's got any questions, throw them out there. But spending too much on your place, you can really just waste the money. I mean, burn the money. I mean, gone. And overcapitalizing is a huge thing for people, because if you do that, like, no one likes to burn the money. You'd rather spend it on something else. So people are always asking real estate agents, what are the guidelines? What do I spend money on? What don't I spend money on? And then equally the opposite. You don't spend enough, it doesn't present well. People penalize you when they go to rent it, or they penalize you when they go to buy it.
Yeah, and I think a real easy example here, that we'll just give the extravagant example of where it goes wrong, and then we can fine tune it. You've bought a knockdown, you build a home. It's generally someone of an ethnic background. Then they build a monster home. It's full brick, if not 3 bricks wide.
Great example.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's because that's just how you do it. Marble kitchens, gold tapware. It's just you could have done it for 500,000. You've done it for 1.5. Whatever happens, divorce, death, it's generally not a good example, because the reality is, where people need to protect themselves, they're doing this build because they see this build as being a lifelong build majority of the time. But something happens, and then they've got to sell. And they're like, all right, the land's worth 1.2. I spent 2 million. I want 3. But every house in the area sells for that's been brand new, sells for 1.8. It is very, very hard to find buyers that value the extra 1.2 million you've spent and willing to pay for it, because they're like, 1 brick or 3, it's still a wall. No. And to be honest, I don't like the look of it. So they get penalized hard, and they generally sit on the market for 6 months, 9 months, never sell. It makes it worse. So there's your extravagant example, which I'm sure we can all pick that house that's been on the market.
It's the cliche mistake.
It is. It's
the cliche mistake. I reckon you nailed it in one. It's the spot on mistake that people make. Now, if I'm building a home with Master Turn, or who are the Icon Homes, or who are the big, I don't know who the big builders are out there at the moment, but
they're going to help. Who are your big home builders? Who's doing a lot of the home builds out in Norwest? Because they're the people who have it down pat. They haven't done too little and they haven't done too much, and the price is sharp. And even when you upgrade from there, you're not upgrading from 1 brick to 3, and the price goes from 500,000 to 1.5 million. You're upgrading from a $500,000 home to a 600, to a 700, all within reason of recouping it back if you have to sell. So they're pretty. I think you've really got to base your price, if you're going to do it yourself, on what these guys are doing.
Yeah, so if you're building with these builders, they will quote 400, 500, 600,000 for a big home to do a brick veneer home. That home will be brick on the outside, and it would be timber and in the middle, gyprock on the inside. Now, as soon as and the slab, which is the floor between the ground floor and the first floor, the slab will be timber when they quote that. So that's how most homes in Australia are built. The European, the Greeks, the Lebanese, the Italians, they will do double brick. So they will do brick on all the inside walls, between the bedrooms, between the lounges. They will do in brick. They will do not only an outside skin of brick, that there will be no timber in the walls. The inside of the wall will be brick again, which is why we call it double brick. When it comes to the slab, they won't do that between the ground floor and the first floor. They won't do it in timber. They will do it in a concrete slab. So once you start doing that sort of building, you can pretty much double your cost. So you're going to go from a $500,000 or $600,000 home to a $1 to $1.2 million home. straight away. Question.
And that's before you've even got to your tapware fixtures and fittings. So we're just talking about the shell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you know, so you know, to build these houses, it's going to be double. My question is, have you overcapitalized?
90% of the 90% of the occasion, yes. I reckon nearly all the time you have. Like it's hard to get it back. People aren't willing to pay full freight. It's like a new car. You spend 100,000, and then you sell it the next week. It's 30% lower. I think the same applies when you build a home too well. But let's not forget, if you're going to live in it for 30 years, you're okay with it. But that's not saying the cheaper your Metricon and Anmal has put down the home builders out northwest that she deals with regularly. We're not saying they're not going to last 30 years, but I think it's, if you're going to live in it, I don't know, it's just a cultural thing more like probably. But because you said, Mark, you don't even see the difference in a knockdown. Like when you see a lot of a knockdown home, the fibros for the shitty double bricks that have run down, you really don't even see much difference in that either. So I almost think it's a myth that people love to see, and I don't know, I just don't see much in it. So that's where we're talking about overcapitalizing there.
And look, I think, you know, you've got to look at your surrounding areas, guys. I love the saying, maximum impact, minimum cost. Yeah. Maximum impact, minimum cost. And you've got to look at bringing something to the market that's consistent with the market. When you're building a double brick, full brick home in a place where there's caravans, you know, you are completely over specifying to the area. Yeah. So I think that whatever you're doing, and back to that word, maximum impact, minimum cost, what is going to make the greatest influence over buyers when they walk through that's going to cost you the least amount of money? Paint and carpet is an absolute no-brainer. Love to know what you guys think out there.
I said it simultaneously when you were saying it about your area, build for your area. So we're obviously speaking quite Northern Beaches bubble. Admiral said double brick is more valued towards Stratfield, Ryde, Putney.
Yeah.
So obviously it does vary. So a lot of it is not, we're going to be talking Northern Beaches, but I do feel it will relate to a lot of areas.
Big time. Look, if you're in a super affluent area, like you're talking the 1% of Sydney, you're talking like Manly, Clontarf, you're talking Double Bay, Rose Bay, you're talking Strathfield and those sort of areas. I think there's an expectation for double brick and concrete sub, but this really is, you know, less than 1% of Australian homes. Yes. Admiral's right. You've got to look around to your area.
And okay, so on a lesser scale, let's just talk more. So that's like full knockdown rebuild. Let's go more practical, little renovations, big renovations, kitchens, bathrooms, renovating to sell, renovating not to sell. What sort of your tips on timeline for that? So let's do, I don't know.
Enjoy it.
Enjoy it. I think that's the biggest tip. Enjoy it. Too many people do the reno, because we want to wrap it up in about 5-6 minutes. Too many people do the reno to sell and go, shit, I should have done this before. And they're just kicking themselves because they never did it, or they did it too late, or Mark, they did it too early. They planned for it to be a 10-year home. They did it all in year 1 or 2, and by the time they sell, it's no good. It's old.
Look, so I've got some buddies with some beautiful homes, and I've often, and they're saying, look, one day, you know, soonish we're going to sell it. You know, next couple of years we're going to sell it. Some of these homes are actually at their peak, and if they hold on another 3 to 5 years, they're going to be an old home. You know, they built these homes maybe 10, 15 years ago, and they're going to be selling them in maybe 5 years. They're going to be a 20-year-old home, but how do they look? They look old. Often these homes, when they're looking at their prime, but they need another coat of paint, but you know, it still could be passed off as a super modern home. It's often a good time to say, mate, you're at the peak of the curve of the value of the house. If you're going to sell it soonish, sell it now.
Well, it's like you got to leave something on the table for someone. And let's use the analogy, if the kitchen's going to have a 20-year lifespan, then you can't use it for 20 years, and then you're leaving no use for nobody. If you use it for 10 years and you've left half the lifespan on the table when you sell, then it's going to have value. And obviously, the less lifespan you leave on the table, the less you're going to get for it, the less buyers will appreciate it. But you've enjoyed it for more. So give and take. You've just got to be reasonable.
And how many times, Michael, do we get owners that we go to their house, they've done this lovely reno because they're going to sell, and they go, why didn't I fix this earlier? Why didn't I do this earlier? Why didn't I? You know, enjoy your renovations,
yes.
like live in them, enjoy them, have fun with them, because often we're tight asses all the way through. And then what we think, oh, we want to make money, we'll spend the money in the end. You could have enjoyed that. You really could have enjoyed that. So, you know, lately, I think a lot of people with COVID have been doing house renovations, you know, because they're living and enjoying their homes. Very clever and adding value.
Lisa, Chris Henry's on. Or they invest in the wrong thing. How many people do? I think the mistake is people do your bathrooms, because the amount you spend on renovating one bathroom, you can almost do all the cosmetic improvements that they grab people's first impression when selling. Because bathrooms, or tenants. Because bathrooms, one of those rabbit holes that the cost can just go from 8,000 to 16,000 very quickly. So I think it's also be smart and have a defined line where you stop with your renovations. People go, I'm just going to do this.
I think maximum impact, minimum cost. You know what I love? I love the examples of furniture places. Yep. Don't do the fantastic furniture, depending on your area, of course. Don't do your Coco Republic or even your Nick Scali underneath that, but do your Freedom furniture. The Freedom furniture have a great way of pulling off really expensive looking fit out furnished properties at a light budget. And your renovations are the same. Your renovations should have that ethos.
Yeah, perfect. Anything else you want to add on today, Mark?
Don't spend too much money. Look around at the area where you are and capitalize to be consistent with that area where you are. Enjoy your renovations, I think, is a big takeout.
Big
maximum impact, minimum cost. Don't forget about those things. It's maximum impact, minimum cost. And if you're in a house that's aging and you've been enjoying it for 10 or 15 years, a big reno or a new home, be careful, because you could be right on the cusp of a major reno needed, and you're not going to get a premium for selling a house. So sell it now before she starts getting old. I guess it's like, you know, it's a bit like a human. You know, I've got to be really careful what I'm saying here, but it's a bit like a human. You know, that sort of 20 to 35. You know, that's the age that's it's looking its best.
Yeah.
I'm going to leave it there.
We'll leave it there. Thank you.
Yeah.
I was going to say how far you can dig your hole.
I'm not setting myself up for this one, but I think everyone gets what I'm saying when it comes to overcapitalizing.
Yes, beautiful. Thanks, everyone.
Any comments out there, by the way? I want to say to the Golden Retriever, Chris Henry, g'day, mate. Thank you for saving my life. And Mel, thank you for your support, comments, Lisa. I think we got it all. Okay, great.
Awesome.
Have a great day, everyone. Hope we helped.
Cheers.
See ya. Bye.